Wow. Marvel Studios is keeping us busy. And that's not a complaint, you know, because Marvel Studios, you can just put as much shit out as you want. And this just may have been one of their best origin stories that they've ever put out. Moon Knight. Yes! I have been waiting forever for this series to hit Disney Plus, and finally we have all 6 episodes out in the open. They're available for you guys to binge and stream as much as you like, and oh my god, I want to talk about so much involving this show, but you know what? There's a lot of that I'm going to save for a very special spoiler stream. And I'm, of course, going to select a panel of special guests to come in and discuss all 6 episodes, along with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, for the purposes of this video, you're safe with me. If you have not seen Moon Knight yet, it's completely spoiler-free. But if you want to stay up to date with me, just in general, in my discussion about all things movies and entertainment, if this is your first time visiting the channel today, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it as hard as you possibly can. And don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. If you enjoy discussing all things geeky, like all things Marvel Studios, all things Moon Knight, we're here to talk about it all, my friends. But let's dig right into it. Moon Knight is a series that as soon as it was announced, I went and I told my dad, who did collect the Moon Knight comics when he was a kid, and admittedly, he's not overly thrilled about all the content that Marvel and Star Wars are throwing out there. But at least from what I've gathered, he was somewhat interested in Moon Knight. And I didn't know a single thing about this character, but I just want to learn as much as I possibly can after binging this whole thing. But alright, let's get into the story. Mark Spector, played by Oscar Isaac, is a mercenary who has DID, and he's drawn into a deadly mystery involving Egyptian gods, namely Khonshu, and he goes on this journey along with his multiple alter egos, such as Stephen Grant, who is a tour guide at this Egyptian museum, and it's a Marvel project, so there's gonna be mysteries involving a villain played by Ethan Hawke, there's gonna be some fun comedy thrown in there, there's gonna be a big action climax in this finale, and guys, Marvel Studios is pretty hit or miss when it comes to origin stories, especially lately. They haven't really struck lightning like they did with their original film Iron Man back in 2008, which many consider to be their best origin story still to this very day. And since then, they've come out with some hits like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, a movie I absolutely love, and Captain Marvel, which was very mid, admittedly. But I can honestly say that Moon Knight itself, as an origin story, may have been even better than Shang-Chi was. I adored this thing from start to finish, and a lot of that has to do with the casting choice of Oscar Isaac himself, who may have just thrust himself into the spotlight as the strongest actor within this entire universe. This guy has 2 very distinct alter egos that we get to follow along with in this show. Stephen Grant is basically your audience character who's always frightened, asking Mark Spector all the questions. And Mark Spector is this stoic, stone-cold badass who just beats down these Egyptian gods with one mighty punch. And Oscar Isaac nails both of these roles down to an absolute T. I've loved this guy ever since I saw him in The Force Awakens as Poe Dameron. I think Poe is one of the strongest characters in that sequel trilogy, and I'm so happy for Oscar Isaac that he finally gets to show his chops in a Marvel project. And there were so many sequences involving Mark and Steven, especially in the early going, that involves a mirror and the reflection, and how they interact with one another through their reflections is so unique. And that all boils down to some incredible direction by Mohamed Diab throughout this entire series, because he does a lot of things here that I frankly have never seen before in any type of media. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the horror genre. Anytime I see a big blockbuster throw in a bunch of jump scares, I usually sit there and groan, just because it's so easy. Just put a big jolt of music and you literally scare the living daylights out of them. But here he is very meticulous about where those jump scares actually land. If you don't believe me, go watch this premiere, because you will never see jump scares done like this, I don't think, ever again. Just the way they're utilized to tell this story of Mark Spector and build up this anticipation to his eventual introduction. It's really cool what they do with this character, and Stephen Grant just being so out of it and so just incredulous about everything going on, this whole situation, it's absolutely hysterical. Oscar Isaac does 2 very distinct accents for both characters. Stephen Grant is this British guy, Mark Spector is your typical Oscar Isaac badass voice that you've grown used to as Poe Dameron. Not to get too deep into spoilers or anything, of course, but that's just your general basic layout of what these two characters have to offer. And oh boy, I cannot wait to see more of him in this universe. Him as Moon Knight itself slash Mr. Knight if he switches over to Steven. Oh my god, this design of the suit is so awesome. The cinematography when he's flying around, and then you have his cape draped through a full moon, so you have the crescent eclipse right there. Oh, just a feast for the eyes. It's so incredible. I think the action in this movie is extremely brutal, especially for Marvel standard. There's a lot of blood everywhere. These guys were pulling absolutely no punches with Moon Knight, and you know what? All the better for it. There's a point where one character gets shot to death and you see the blood. You see it sputter out of him as he gets shot, and it's gruesome. You're not used to that in Marvel movies, really. I'm extremely pleased with the direction that this took. The cinematography, shooting on location in Hungary, in Egypt, in Cairo especially, with the pyramids in the background. Oh gosh, I want to go back and rewatch all these episodes right now. I loved Moon Knight. You also have some other interesting characters thrown into the mix, like Layla, Mark's ex. She is such a badass, such a cool character. She certainly gets a lot of moments to shine, especially as you get towards a very exciting action finale in episode 6. Ethan Hawke as a villain here is very good. He has a very ominous presence. His motivations may be somewhat basic and a little bit too simplistic for some people, but there is no denying that he draws intimidation every single time he steps into frame. There's also a couple of scenes involving Ethan Hawke, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but I was talking a lot about the horror genre just a minute ago, but I think the thing that makes Moon Knight especially frightening is that these showrunners really f*** with our perception. And that brings me to one point that I really wanted to address. I do have a bunch of my friends here on the medium here on YouTube that got to see episodes 1 through 4 of Moon Knight early. Fucking lucky ducks them. But I can certainly see why you guys stopped at episode 4, because that is the last 15 minutes of episode 4. Oh my god, it messed with my head. Like, I didn't know what to think. Like, when you go to this certain place where it takes you, there was a part of me that didn't exactly know what was going on, but I could not help but be riveted and see why we're taken to this place. This is a case where perception may not exactly be reality, ladies and gentlemen. And then you're introduced to certain characters, and then it's like a mind f***, basically. You're like, how in the heck do we get to this point? But I think that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it so scary to me. You don't exactly know what events actually happen and which ones don't. And therein the magic lies, my friends. And honestly, I was very satisfied with Moon Knight. The penultimate episode, I feel like this is gonna be the Marvel Studios TV series tradition. Much like Game of Thrones, I do feel like that the penultimate episode is gonna end up being the strongest in a lot of these. And I cannot wait to sit through this series again. And I can't wait to see where Oscar Isaac's character goes in the future of this. What characters is he gonna end up connecting with? I have no freaking clue, but I just can't help but smile. I'm gonna give Moon Knight an A. The only thing that's holding it back from being perfect is I kind of wish that the finale was a teensy bit longer, and that's really nitpicking at this point. But a key thing to note is that I'm not lambasting the series at all or downgrading it too harshly because the finale was too short. But there are people who have grown to hate Moon Knight because of the finale. Like, they're begging the studio for more. You're gonna get more. And that to me is very telling, my friends. If you are sitting there and you're begging this studio for more as soon as the credits slam on you, that tells you how good the series was. That tells you how good the characters were. Tells you how so well realized that they all are. And from the looks of things, we're getting more, my friends. We're getting a lot more with Moon Knight. But my friends, this is all just my opinion, of course. Let me know what you guys thought of Moon Knight down in the comments section below. I will be doing a full Spoiler City stream involving this and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness once I see that tomorrow night. So if you guys want to be the first ones in the know when that stream is coming up, do subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, click that like button on your way out the door. This is all tremendously helpful in getting this content more out there to more people. Speaking of content, stay tuned for all this exciting Marvel talk and much more. I'm going to be continuing my Jurassic Park series. I'm going to try and get my review for The Lost World out next week at some point, and I can't wait to discuss it all with you, my friends. Y'all are the best. Thank you all so much again for your support. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence!